G'day guys, it's Calvin, the Cartoon Company in New Zealand. We're going to talk about a product today, and I'm not associated with the company that it comes from in any way, and I'm not getting paid for this video in any way. But it's a cool product, and when I see cool products, I think other people should know about them. So let's have a bit of a look here. This is Old Yeller. It's got very low oil pressure. It's a Gen 1 1UZ, and it's relatively together at the moment. This is relatively together. And you know what this Old Yeller really needs? Any suggestions of what Old Yeller needs?
Yeah, melt it down to scrap steel.
It would be aluminium, wouldn't it? It'd be
more horsepower.
More horsepower. How?
Experience.
What with? Boost?
No, extra vacuum.
Boost.
Extra vacuum.
Boost. That's why Old Yeller. Boost, you reckon?
I reckon it needs boost. Boost is coming. But for this one, we're not doing the call on plug. What we're doing, and I'm planning for a job that I'm doing. We're getting rid of this thing because cables are old. We're not going to use cables. We're going to swap out this, and we're going to fit up a Bosch 74mm throttle body, electronic throttle body. So that's going there. That's a big thanks to the guys at Motorsport Electronics here in New Zealand. We've got that there. And to do it, we're going to fit this adapter, which is a reasonably bolt-on unit from Venom Automotive over in Australia. And they make some cool billet stuff, cable adapters for UZs, oil filter units. There's some pretty cool stuff that they make. But in this case, we're doing the throttle body adapter for that 74mm Bosch throttle body. So what came with it? There's 4 little washers. There's some 40mm M6 cap screws that'll hold the throttle body on. There's some M8 cap screws. There's 15mm long. There's 2 of those and 2 at 20mm. Take the adapter, remove this. Where's the rubbish bin? And we will see if we go to put this on that it's not just going to bolt on. Where these top holes are, they clash with the studs, so these studs are going to need to come out. The bottom ones, however, will bolt straight in, and then that will allow us to bolt the throttle body on. There's an O-ring right there. There's an O-ring right there, so gaskets are rubbish. I was going to say here's one I prepared earlier, but this is today's sacrifice. I'm using my Koken stud remover. And then I'm going to pass this to my my trade assistant. We'll upgrade him today. And he's going to drill out these holes here. Now, people might go, what size holes? Well, if we take this and we measure these holes here, 8.5mm. Let's just zero that. Yeah, that's zeroed nicely. Oh, is that going to be the biggest spot? Oh no, 8.81, so closer to 9. This gets passed to the trade assistant. 9mm.
What do you want?
There,
Yeah.
and there. Rip the threads out of them with 9mm drill bit, please.
Alright.
Thank you. That'll allow to put this on, you see.
Oh, an adapter.
I just had a voice in the background ask why won't these studs work. we actually have a look. So the bottom holes we can put, and they normally have bolts, so it allows the Allen key to go through. But there's nowhere to go through for the top holes from the top, because we've got the bolt holes for the Allen keys for the throttle body to go on the front. So
I see.
it's
tapped
from the back.
Into there. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so the Allen key's coming from the back forward. I'm just going to quickly remove this one, shall I? It's not so easy with one hand. Right, that's done. Now, I'm sure there's other manufacturers around the world that make similar units, and you are more than welcome to put in the comments that you do make these. And oh, he's going to make some noise. Go for it. You're using some lube. You don't want to just shove those drills in the hole without good lube. Now you know about shoving things in when it's dry.
The only way I get them to make a sound.
So if there are other manufacturers of these units, you're more than welcome to put a comment in the description.
Like, share, and subscribe.
You're going out in one go. You're giving the heats all in one go. I love the determination. I'm not sure I can put this in the video, eh? I'm not sure I can put this in the video at all. Just go hard and go. That's it. Just go hard. Right, with the studs removed and the holes drilled, top plenum can go back on. They actually call this an air surge with Toyota. Call that the air surge. So I'm going in with the little ones at the bottom. So the 15 millers. Don't need a gasket because of that O-ring.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty, just in case you don't know.
20s at the top.
That's why the studs need to be removed and the holes drilled out. In case you missed that.
Well, come check out in here how well it's merged in, because I've actually moved the throttle body up to give clearance. So it's actually merged in. It's beautifully made, these units, which is pretty typical of Venom.
It's quite nice here, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's nicely lined up actually, pretty decent.
I don't know whether it's worth taking a grinder to the back of these and just flattening them up. They go tight. Probably we need to talk to spec, eh?
Yeah.
What do you reckon? About
half an ugga. Well, what size bolts are they?
8. M8, so 8125.
I would have called them to your apprentice. You call them something else.
Well, hey, you can't give them you can't call them a 12mm because it's got an Allen key head on it.
Correct, because a bolt is always denoted by its nominal diameter.
There's an M6.
Correct.
But we would often say it is a 10mm. You know, in the real world, it's quite acceptable to say that's a 10mm head if it had a 10mm head.
10mm headed bolt, yes, not a 10mm bolt. 10mm headed bolt, 10mm heads.
Alan, what is this? So I probably need to use the little washers, eh?
Yeah, figure out your orientations there.
So this is going to be a problem if you're really going to run. It can run either way.
Probably, depending on your spacing of your bolt holes, isn't it?
But it's going to sit better that way.
Right, because it's a bit neater. It doesn't this.
And we're not going to have bonnet clearance issues and stuff like that.
Right.
However,
well, we don't have a bonnet, so it's all right.
If you've got the factory breather,
it's a bit of a snug fit. A little bit of imagination required. Well, you could always maybe you could just do it that way.
Yeah, not ideal. So the factory throttle body. See if you look at the factory throttle body. See it opens at the bottom.
Right. And you're wanting to maintain the same orientation essentially.
And because of that and that, opens at the bottom, because that allows it to open at the bottom, which maintains the flow in there like normal. And of course, with the electronic throttle body, there's no need for an idle speed, so that can be blanked, can go.
Oh, okay.
You don't need the idle speed control at all. Now we were talking about the throttle body.
Yeah.
And the direction of the butterfly.
Yeah. So can you do that on a drive-by-wire? I don't think you could do that on a drive-by-wire.
You can't push the throttle plate.
No, I thought it was. But you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Maybe on some of them you can.
No, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Non-VVTi are the same. They push it. They open at the top, and it actually says here on the instructions. I've got the instructions. Must be mounted with throttle shaft plus or minus 20 degrees from horizontal. Must be. Ideally, it would be, because we've mounted some on a little bit more than that, like on the JZs. But that's what I do. Preferably with the motor at the bottom. It's preferable that the motor goes at the bottom.
Okay.
It's not a must, but it's preferable.
So you want to flip it upside down?
No, well, that's actually, it sits, that one sits nice and neat when it's upside down. I know when it's up that way with the motor at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's just very close to the fuel lines. So a little bit of modding like to the return line and it'll fit just fine.
Yeah.
But that is the preferred way to actually sit it, so it's not with this big bulky motor sitting at the top.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you actually read the instructions, but as males, we're not good at it.
Instructions. I'm all about the instructions.
Are you bringing out your feminine side?
Maybe. I love instructions. Like if you're getting product that's coming with instructions, then it's good product. You know? A lot of products don't come with instructions, so you just gotta
Wing it.
wing it.
We'll wing it.
And then you get in trouble.
We're definitely but we're often doing stuff that doesn't have instructions, so
Yes.
I provide a lot of instructions, so that's kind of what I'm about, and
Yes.
that was part of
Yeah.
why I started doing the YouTube thing, was so people could have some information better than, because a lot of the time there's not a lot of information around on the stuff.
Yeah.
That's
So
what it's
you've
about.
been doing it for so long now that if anyone else wants to start up, they're going to have a hard road to catch up.
Oh no, I actually really promote guys doing it too.
Yeah.
Let me get his name right. Masao?
Yeah.
Masao?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Masao.
Masao?
Yeah.
In America, he's doing a bit. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
And Jake Bain in Australia, he's trying to do a little bit with some of engine dynamics and flows, and of course he's done lots with 1UZs.
Yeah.
Built a very fast 1UZ in Australia.
They're popular, man. They're way more popular than I ever knew they were.
Chris, he's doing it as well with his wiring.
Yeah.
So it's really good that there's other people out there, and it takes the pressure off me, and it gets more information out there.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully I've inspired a couple of them.
Yeah, that way you inspire me every day.
Very good. Some of them. He's thick.
Yeah, that is close. Yeah, that is close, but I think those wishing to put in a little bit more effort, it does clear. It literally clears. It's far enough away from the fuel rail, a few millimeters at least.
No, it's not. It's actually touching right there, because it's not actually.
Oh, this is the fuel line. Oh,
this is the fuel return.
Fuel return. Okay, the fuel
It wouldn't
return.
take much to give it a tweak.
No,
bend
but it doesn't hit the fuel rail. That's what I was talking about. The fuel rail you can't do anything with. Well, not really. The fuel line, you could probably tweak that and slot the hole slightly if you wanted to do it that way too. Just a little more effort required. I think that looks better as far as visually goes, and but like you say, yeah, it does look way nicer.
But then we've got the fouling issues of breathers, but
yeah,
if you're putting different breathers on it,
correct.
And then if you're changing that return line anyway, this is common on, so this return line is Gen 1. If it was on the Gen 2 engine, which I'll put the Gen 2 over there, it is the fuel regs at the back.
Yeah, but you're fouling, if you look at what it's fouling on, you could probably put a tiny tweak in that little tiny ding and you know, push the line down. Yeah, line down and slot the hole a little bit.
That tweak just there pushed it down, it's no touching.
Yeah, so That is not really much of an issue.
And of course the breather gets changed because the breather's normally into the bottom of the throttle.
Oh, right.
So it needs to be changed anyway.
Yeah.
So Gen 2 doesn't have this line.
Right. So that wouldn't be a concern on Gen 2.
Yeah, so these plenums do flip as well because the engine's a mirror. These cylinder heads are the same.
That's right.
You can actually flip the cylinder heads. So, but this one, of course, the fuel inlet would have to have a banjo fitting, no dampener. So I want to put the charger on Old Yeller, which is an outlet over this side. But the wiring, I want to test the wiring and actually run the engine.
Well,
so I'm going to...
folk that we have flipped it, that the turtle symbol now is actually at the flywheel end.
At the back.
Yeah, so before it was the factory way with the tail symbol at the front of the engine.
Yeah, so...
Not sure that was clear on you.
What I'm going to do is it's going to have the charger here, and that throttle body's going to sit here, but the wiring will still reach there, so I'm actually going to flip it round and fire it and run the engine with this throttle body, so I can actually test and run it.
But yeah, interesting to see because you've now got the opening at the top rather than the bottom.
Yeah, so the flow characteristics will be a bit different to what Toyota originally designed it to come in open at the bottom.
How do most manufacturers do it? Like the other thing is there differences? Is it typically at the bottom or is it?
That's a good question.
I'm not actually that high end on engine stuff, but what the factory does is that if you follow that, you usually get a fairly good result. But,
correct.
But then again, you know, sometimes changing something, but knowing what you're changing and seeing the result is interesting.
Yep.
Good part of learning.
Good. Right.
Wrong engine. Okay. Oops.
This one.
Oh, no.
This one's all been messed up anyway because normally the fuel reg, the return, is normally here. But we've been mixing and matching and playing with this manifold.
Oh, right. Bad example then.
Bad example, yes.
But then a good example in the sense that you could actually move a lot of things around and really play with it and actually alter a lot of different things. And
yeah.
But how would it fit in regards to the fuel rail on this one?
The fuel rail will be fine.
Right.
So the fuel reg, that reg is normally there.
Right.
So there's no issue on return lines and fuel lines fouling.
No, because you've got you come straight out of there, don't you? For as your fuel return.
Heads that way.
Yeah, so that's easy.
Right, next I'm going to put these coils and the supercharger onto Old Yeller.
Right. And we'll put a bucket underneath to catch all the shrapnels.
So I hope that's been helpful. Beautiful machining on the adapter. Can go a couple of ways. And so hope that's been helpful. Talk to you again soon. Catch you later.